What? They're geniuses. Like going from this to this, and how this part goes from here to over there. It just makes so much sense. How are they so smart? Like, who wrote this? They need a prize. They need like 5 cookies. Okay. What's up, everyone? So yeah, I took some time to analyze the sheet music from the trailer theme, and man, was it an exhilarating ride. So for today's video, I'm gonna show you just what I found and how the music team did such a phenomenal job of writing this piece. Man, I still get chills just thinking about it. I want to give a big thank you to Tande for providing the sheet music. He did such a great job with it. He also orchestrated the trailer theme in its entirety, so if you want to listen to this wondrous piece on its own without any of the in-game sounds, I suggest you go check it out. Links in the description. I also want to thank every single one of you that's been showing my channel and video lots of love recently. You guys are too awesome. You guys also deserve 5 cookies. A lot of you also asked for this in-depth analysis, so if you enjoyed the video, you can demonstrate that enjoyment by leaving a like. And while you're at it, if you haven't, you can also subscribe, and you know, it's there. There are plenty of analysis videos out there already, so to give you guys new content, I won't be talking about what has already been found. I want to give you guys new and interesting findings, so before the comments go on about how I didn't talk about a certain subject, well, it's already been talked about. This right here is content straight off the press. Now, with an in-depth analysis, it's almost impossible to keep it beginner-friendly. But like I mentioned before, you guys asked for it. You brought this upon yourself. Don't look at me. Because of this, I'm only going to be focusing on 2 big discoveries I made while analyzing the sheet music. I try to keep it as simple as possible, but if you still have any questions, just drop down in the comments below. Or if you want a more immediate answer, you can always join the Discord and ask me any question you may have on the subject. Obligatory disclaimer, this is a musical piece that is very short. When doing an in-depth analysis, one looks for patterns found in sheet music, but the shorter the piece, the harder it is to really get a grasp of what the composer is doing. Though, even though short, not to toot my own horn, I've found some pretty sweet stuff. Alright, let's begin with the first section. The triumphant sounding section, which feels a bit weird saying since it starts off in the key of D minor, which minor means a somber or sad sounding key. Major being the opposite, happy or joyful. Let me explain what's going on. So in a D minor key, you find these chords: D minor, E diminished, don't worry about what that means, it's not important, F major, G minor, A minor, B flat major, and C major. And to usually establish this sad sounding key, chords usually need to follow this chord progression pattern. One would start on the D minor, you can then go to any chord and follow along the route. Which if we take a look here, the composer really didn't do that. Because of this, it's difficult to establish a sad sounding piece. But there's another reason as to why this is happening, and that's because of this G major chord right here. This G major chord is not supposed to be here. This G major happy chord doesn't belong. And that is why this chord right here is very important, because it is what keeps this grand triumphant mood going. But why is it there? Did the composer just throw in that accidental to make it sound good? An accidental is a note not found in the key signature. Well, I'll let you in on a little secret. A little secret that people haven't found out yet. The scale used changes in this instant. When the piece starts, it's in a D minor key, which uses a natural D minor scale. But right here, we see the use of a D Dorian scale. Hey Ace Monkey, what's a Dorian scale? I'm glad you asked, kind viewer. A Dorian scale is a scale that's part of a group of scales called modes. Now, all that you need to know is that modes are scales that change normal major and minor scales by either making one note higher or lower. In this instance, this B flat is being raised to a B natural, and although it's just one note, it makes a big difference in creating a mood. For example, you ever heard of Spanish flamenco songs and wonder why it has such a distinct sound? Well, besides its instruments, it usually follows the Phrygian mode. The Lydian mode is used to convey a floaty, grandioso feel, much like what is heard in the E.T. theme, the Jurassic Park theme, and the Back to the Future theme. The Dorian mode that we see here, although it's in a minor scale, it has some optimism to it because of its raised 6th note. So one could say that it's a grand and uplifting mode with dark undertones in the background. It would be hard to say that it changes to a Dorian mode solely based on this instance, but when we hear the modulation to E minor, which happens here, we also see this C becoming sharp, which is the 6th note in the scale being raised, thus a Dorian mode. Being a short piece, 2 repetitions is more than enough to clearly analyze it as a change to a Dorian mode, and it makes sense with the dark and offsetting section that is to come. It's the perfect way to transition from one part to the next. Before we get into this cacophony of quarter triplets that we see in the second section, we see this small intro to the section that acts as a preparation for what is to come. Nothing too drastic, just a couple of instances of syncopation and the constant change from A sharp to A natural. This part of the second section slowly prepares our ears for the next unsettling notes that we are to hear. Now, when I realized what was going on here, it literally left me speechless at how great of a job the composers did to implement this. Okay, so to better understand this, let's group all these triplets together to see what's being played. We have a group that's playing B, A sharp, E, then G, F sharp, and B. Another is playing E, D sharp, A, then C, B, and F. The last is playing F sharp, F, B, then D, C, then G. Now, when these 2 notes are played, the distance between the first and the second is that of a half step or a minor second. These are notes that are right next to each other and are usually played to create suspense. I'm sure a lot of you heard this and was made famous with the Jaws theme. Check it out. So this is a reason that causes that unsettling feeling. But it doesn't end there. In all these instances, the distance between these pairs of notes is what in music we call a tritone. In music, the tritone is considered the most unsettling, the most unattractive note interval or note distance that can be played. So much that it has received the nickname of the devil's interval. Ooh, scary. So when playing a minor second and tritone, or devil's interval, consecutively in almost every single instrument that is being heard, well, it does a great job of creating a suspenseful, uneasy, and almost scary piece of music that is fitting what seems to be the return of the Garuda King. For the last section, we have just these 3 notes. Although very minimal, we as the audience know that these 3 notes carry a lot of weight as it signifies the presence of Princess Zelda. With these 3 notes, we're able to fill in the blanks and know just what exactly the composer is doing there. It's interesting just what 3 notes can do, right? Now, why the 3 notes at the end, you may ask? Well, this part of the video isn't really an analysis, but more of a speculation, so hold on to your tinfoil hats. So, we see a hint of Zelda present in the theme. The second section is heavily unsettling to the point of using the devil's interval, so one could assume that this section belongs to Ganondorf. And, well, the first section, I think we all know where that's going. It's to represent the valiant hero that is Link. Maybe a hero that is granted a new power that, although used for good, was once a power used for darkness. You know, because of the dark undertones that are created with the D Dorian. But hey, that's just my speculation. I want to know what you guys think. What did you guys think of my analysis? Sorry if I lost some of you, but again, if you have any questions, just let me know down below. Now, I can't end this video without addressing the elephant in the room. Yes, my previous short analysis video. It seemed that everyone was divided on whether it was or wasn't the Song of Time. There were 2 big counter arguments that were presented. The first being that the 4 to 5 notes that I analyzed as a theme, or motif if you want to use musical terms, was too short of a sequence to be considered a theme. And to that I respond with the greatest motif ever composed, the Fate motif. Here, Beethoven only used 2 pitches and 4 notes, and to this day is probably one of the most famous themes. When creating a theme or motif, it doesn't matter how long or complex it is. What matters is how well you play around with the melodic phrase and the importance you give to it. There were also some people commenting that I was missing one of the A notes, and like I mentioned in the comments, when it comes to analyzing sheet music and composition techniques, one has to take into consideration that composers will change up small details when reworking a theme and creating a variation. Yes, I did quote-unquote omit an A note, but the pitch is still present. The main idea of the theme remains present. Now, you can call it reaching, but with what I learned in my studies, there is some sort of connection. You may not think so, and you know what? That's completely fine. If you weren't convinced that it was a Song of Time backwards, that's okay. I was convinced with my analysis. Like I mentioned before, countless amount of times, when analyzing music, everyone can be right as long as there's some sort of evidence backing your claims. Well, this has probably been one of the longest videos I've made in a while, but thank you all for watching. You guys have been nothing but great to me, and I really don't get tired of thanking you all. I hope you guys enjoyed the analysis. This one goes out to everyone that was asking for it. I'm Ace Monkey. Have a great day, and thanks for watching.